Hey friends and family, it's James with HardcoreRC Customs, and tonight I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. That's right, we are building links, and I'm going to show you the tools and techniques I use to make it as easy as possible. Specifically, we are working on our Team GSpeed V1C1 and installing some HardcoreRC links. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm James with HardcoreRC Customs, and we do product reviews, product development, and how-tos. This is going to be a how-to on building links for your RC crawler. Tonight, we're going to be working on our Team GSpeed V1C1. So you can see we've done a little bit of work on this. We're probably going to have to flip the motor mount and transmission, or mirror them. But tonight, we're going to be building the HardcoreRC links for this one. So if you're not familiar, Hardcore makes custom links for competition style crawlers, and that's what we're doing tonight. So we're installing some AR45 Vanquish axles that came off of another build onto our V1C. So this will be a portal build, probably with 80 millimeter shocks. And here are the tools we're using tonight. So ball tool and shock shaft tool are great for holding the links without scratching them. And our TGH ball driver and a 3.8 volt electric screwdriver. So I have a couple of those ready to go. And then of course, MIP speed bits. So what's really cool about Hardcore, so I don't know if you can see it there on camera, but he makes links for all types of crazy combinations, all different chassis, all different axle combinations, all different skid combinations. So I'm fairly confident we got the right one here. And to help minimize confusion, you can see what he does on the inside cover here, which is really clever. The links are all color-coded, and you're getting the legend here on where those links go. A lot of times, if you end up making your own links or buying someone else's, just a bag, and it's really hard to tell what goes where. So this will give you a head start on at least putting the links in the right positions. He also includes some pretty cool stickers. So some of those might find their way onto our build and maybe into our scale garage here somewhere. So the way I figured the wheelbase is we're using this custom carbon fiber body, and I measured to the center of the wheel arches here at just under 12 inches. So this is the 11.8 inch wheelbase link kit for our chassis and axle combination. So let's pull the axles out of the way. And we'll show you how to build a couple of links, at least the tools that I use. And then we'll fast forward it so we can get to the install portion. So what I like to do actually is set up all of the rod ends first. These should all be the same. Yeah, they look to be the same. And we're gonna use our ball tool. This helps keep you from marring the link ends by using pliers. So I highly suggest, if you're gonna be building your own links, to buy the two tools that we're gonna be using next. So let's get a couple of the ball ends out. So you could probably install these with pliers, but really the right way to do it is to use the ball tool. So there's a ball tool link in and a ball out. I actually use the ball out for both. It just helps me keep things in place. One of the tricks is to not squeeze all the way, but you can see how quick and easy that is. We haven't damaged the ball or rod end by marring it up with a pair of needle nose. So again, just prop it on the end there. And light pressure pops right in place. So we're gonna do that for the rest of the links now. All right, so you can see having the right tools definitely helps. And we've got them sort of haphazardly assembled. You'll notice I didn't really clock these bends relative to the rod ends. And what we're gonna wanna do on the next step is check our list to make sure everything looks good. So we've got our rear lower, rear uppers for our 4-link rear. We've got our steering link, and so you can see there's a single bend here, and that's because the AR45s have an offset from pumpkin. We've got our drag link, so that'll drop down to the steering knuckle. And now we've got our front upper for the 3-link, our front lowers, and our panhard for the front end. So we've got pretty much everything set to go. These are our links for the front end. These are our 4 links for the back. And next step, you're gonna wanna grab some digital calipers, and you don't have to make them perfect, but you definitely wanna get as close as you can. Get the links that are paired, like these 2 rear uppers, get them so they're clocked the same way and have the same length eye to eye. So give that a twist. And we're gonna fine tune after we build the truck, but we wanna have these symmetrical in length to start with. Otherwise we're gonna be in trouble on the rest of the build. So there's a couple ways you can measure. What I found works best is measuring inside to inside on these tie rod ends, because we can butt the calipers right up against them. Let's try it on the same side. There we go. So we got about 78.8. Let's see how the other one looks. So 78.9, so this one's slightly longer. Let's give it a twist. So it's about a half turn. And we've got 78.6. So that's about as close as we're able to get this link, because if I give it another turn, we're gonna be a little bit, a little bit long, 78.9. So let's go in. And now we've got these paired. So let's do the same for the rest of them. All right, so we've got our link ends, our links with equal lengths and paired up. And the light blue links, these straight links, are going to be our upper rear links for the 4-link. So those are gonna bolt in to one of the holes here on either side of the top of the chassis. And then the links with the bends in them, the dark blue, are going to install here on the bottom of the skid and back towards the rear axle. So what we're gonna do now is go ahead and remove these side pieces that I had printed just to do body fitment. And we're going to then remove these M3 threaded grub screws and install our links. If you don't have an M3 bolt kit, you'd probably want to grab one at this point, because you're going to need M3 hardware to mount the upper links to your chassis. And we're just going to pick an arbitrary point to get it assembled, but we'll do fine tuning for body fitment and wheelbase, etc. But yeah, you're gonna need some M3 hardware. I believe Hardcore makes bolts. If not, there's I'm sure a few companies that do. I buy a lot of bolts, so I have my own. All right, so let's get started. All right, so now we're ready to move on to the front end. What I did out back here is I just ran a couple of cable ties around the axle so it's not all flopping around while we're working on the front end. And we're going to show you what needs to be done up here. So this AR45 has a driver's side offset pumpkin, but our stock configuration on our forward motor mount from TGH and the transfer case has both the motor in the wrong position and the output for the front drive shaft in the wrong position. So these have to be mirrored. We're going to do that in another video. What we're going to do right now is go ahead and install our front axle. And you can see we've got our panhard bracket already mounted up. And we're going to run our 3-link and panhard at this time, starting with the skid plate, just like we did on the back of the truck. All right, so welcome to the end of the video. We've got our hardcore links installed. I want to call out a mistake I made on the time lapse. The panhard front link needs to be mounted here, as you can see, to the opening in the lower portion of the chassis, not up here, which I accidentally did during the time lapse. So now we've got it sitting on axles. You can actually see we've got our turbine wheels installed, and we are about ready for shocks. So in the next video, we're going to be assembling some drive checks here, 80 millimeter, because we have portals. We're going to keep that CG low. You'll also notice that I've removed the Creeper T transmission because we're going to have to mirror it. As part of that, you can kind of see that the mounting points are skewed in such a way that the output shaft is pointed towards the rear diff. If we turn it around, you're going to see that that's going to cause a problem as far as the shaft angles. So TGH includes a little shim. I, of course, lost that, so I made another one. I just quickly printed this up. Basically, it'll fit onto this side of the skid and return those shaft angles to neutral on this setup. So it looks something like that. So we'll need to flip the skid around, mirror the transmission. We're also going to need to flip the Ford motor mount around, and there is a template that's available. Again, I just measured my own and printed it. But basically, we're going to bolt this up here to the shock tower, and we're going to drill our new hole. And then I'll probably even reshape these carbon shock towers so it looks a little bit more finished. So in any case, we've got some work to do. That's going to be in the next video. So mirroring the Ford motor mount and the TGH creeper, along with building our drive techs. So if you guys want to see what this is going to look like when it's done, now that we're on wheels and tires and links, this is sort of the look we're going after. So Jeep truck body on some Class 1 tires and a Class 1 V1C1 chassis. All right, let me know what you guys think and what motor you'd like to see in this. I'm leaning towards a Holmes Hobby because I've got some ESCs that I need to install, and we've got to put some battery trays in it, make some sliders, but this is kind of what we're working with right now. All right, guys, thanks. Have a good night.